Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hey, I'm Lizzie and I'm a self-taught artist. I've started taking art seriously in November 2018 and keeping a sketchbook. Today I'm going to show you my very first sketchbook, which is this one. And I've started with a couple of tutorials from Macochino. I'll leave the link in the description. These were my very first tries. You can see there that I've really tried to blend all the colors, but they were not that it wasn't that easy. The galaxies in particular, they were very terrible, and but in another way, I mean, they're still cool. I still like to look into these ones. This was done in November 2018 and these were my very first tries at watercolor. Moving on, this is my very first try at painting trees. It's still very terrible, and I don't really know if I can do it better. It would be interesting to just try and redo these paintings one day, 3 years after, or just to see if I've improved or not. Yeah, so yeah. This was another tutorial by Macochino, and it was with gouache and watercolor, and the goal was to do these fluffy cotton candy clouds. I still like these colors a lot, but I mean, clouds are very tricky. I kid you not, I still try to do them. This is nothing important, this is just like looking at my paints and trying to dilute them and see how they look like. This was a study for the next painting, which is here. It's another tutorial by Macochino, and it's supposed to be a forest. You'll use the like light colors in the background and start to building the color until you reach the foreground, which is darker than the background. This was the idea, and yeah, this is just another tutorial. And here we change into another YouTuber who has many tutorial videos on YouTube and on her Patreon as well. It's Kirsty Partridge, and yeah, I've painted these two. The moon there, I mean, doesn't make any sense because the stars are showing off on the dark side of the moon. Yeah, it was a bit of a mess. I still love this one. This is another tutorial by Kirsty Partridge, and yeah, it's okay. I'll just leave every sort of link in the description. Yeah, and here I'm showing up how much I've improved just with a couple of days of trying with the galaxy painting. I mean, this one is much better than the one before. Yeah, so here I got me some watercolor pencils, and I've decided to swatch them all. They're from Caran d'Ache, which is often called the Ferrari of the colored pencils. Anyway, yeah, this one was a snapshot that I took from Google, and yeah, somebody just took a picture and posted it in there. It's a snowy landscape on a sunset or sunrise, I don't really know, and I've kind of don't know where this reference is anymore, but yeah, I've decided to paint it and I like it a lot. And here I started to paint from just photographs and see what I could do. I tried to apply this cotton candy tutorial from Macochino here, and it was this was a sunflower field, I guess. Yeah, it's still very enjoyable. I like this one a lot still. This one was very, very tricky because with watercolor you have to think ahead and plan ahead, and the white page is your white. It's supposed to be your white, and therefore you're going to build up with the color, and you shouldn't just paint the rays in a lighter color. You should instead just paint the, in this case, the triangles you can see there. Build up the color with the triangles and not paint sun rays. And it was very tricky to do. I haven't done anything like this since, yeah, here it's me pointing out to the triangles. I'm doing this voiceover, by the way, because I didn't really like my first try at this. So I've decided just to go on and do this voiceover. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm talking about in the original one. Just see random movements of my hands. This was yet another person on YouTube. It's called, I think, Grant Fuller. And my objective here, my goal was to paint mist on forest. Yeah, and I don't really know, again, if I can do better this time. I should just redo these paintings, all of them, just to see if I could do it better right now. Everything I will just leave it in the description, all these YouTubers, okay? Yeah. Again, look at that sky. Look at these clouds. Clouds are so tricky. Clouds are really a tricky subject to paint. This was a snapshot that I took from, actually a picture that I took from my from the workplace that I was working on. You can see here the sunlight was hitting that that mountain, and then you have the darker part. Here I just swatched some other watercolors and tried to dilute them as best as I could. They're from my kid. They're children's watercolors, and they have faded a little bit, as you can see already. They're not as good as the artist grade ones that I usually use, but they're fine for beginners. I mean, I don't have any complaints. My kid doesn't have any complaints. They're bright. They do the job. So, yeah. Moving on to the next one. Yeah, I basically just painted everything I saw at this in this phase. I thought this one was really great. It was a pear. I look at it now and I just think, what the hell? But yeah. Another one, it's called Piri Piri. It's a sort of chili that's used in Portugal, my home country. And I just had it on my garden, just took a little bit and I painted it from life. Yeah, so yeah, so some clementines that my mom had on her fruit bowl on the top of the table. I've used soft pastels to do the shading and the light. I mean, I've realized that I could use other mediums. Oh, let's not talk about this one much. I was just doing some random wet on wet technique in here. Yeah, it's colorful, at least. Oh boy, and this one, there's a lot to talk about in here and to unpack. I actually I didn't draw a lot or try to draw for almost, I don't know, 16 years, and here it is. I've just stopped in time. This is how I used to draw when I was 16, and here is this big realization that I couldn't draw from my imagination. Everything was stiff. The characters was just the proportions were wrong. Everything in this drawing is very frustrating, and this is you know, one of those things that you just look at and think, boy, this sucks, and I need to learn properly how to draw. And then I just threw myself onto every sort of tutorial that I could find on YouTube. Yeah, this is another painting. This is a photo that I took near the place that I live. It has a lake and it has a sunset. I tried to apply again the things that I'd learned before, in this case on Kirsty Partridge tutorials, and try to apply them here, like the sunset, the light reflecting on the straws and stuff like this. This is another reference photo that I took and tried to paint. It's a lake in Bavaria, Germany, near the Neuschwanstein castle. Yeah, I still really like it. Yeah, this sketchbook is all over the place. I've tried everything. This is Cate Blanchett, but it doesn't look like her. I mean, since then I've realized that this wasn't a very good reference photo to begin with. It was too light, too bright. It wasn't good enough. So this is a pansy that took me a lot of time, I think 6 hours or something, to paint. It's from my grandma's garden, and I still like it a lot in terms of realism. This is something that I tried to do as a realistic painting, and just using watercolor, no extra medium. This is from a trip that I took to Sintra. It's in Portugal, and it's a picture that I took. Again, that's my husband on this sort of Moorish windows. And because my my husband saw what I've tried to do with the portrait and said I couldn't figure out noses, yeah, I just drawn a lot of noses. Nothing here really to see, just some doodles and some swatching of my Faber-Castell graphite pencils. Some more doodles. They're really fun actually to do, and very relaxing, and it's a good exercise to know what your brain does when you're not really thinking about it. Yeah, this is me trying to do another of those paintings that I did with the forest, with different dilutions, different strengths or values of the medium. It was really cool. I wanted to do it I wanted to do it again sometime, like bigger. Yeah, this is just nothing, a little bit delving into abstract, and I was just showing the reflections of gold that I've used. This is salts on watercolor and does these really cool effects. It looks like actually just ice, and it's really cool. This is me trying to do the Sintra Palace near Lisbon. It's really cool, it's really colorful and really strange when you think about it as an architectural building. Yeah, this is another one that oh my god, where to start? Again, trees are not my forte, and I don't think that red works that well in this sort of of painting. Some more doodles again, I was really having fun with my golden watercolor paintings or paints. And this one is another picture that I took from where I live. It has a lot of forests. Yeah, so this is basically some doodles to close this sketchbook, and some stuff that I like to keep on this pocket that this sketchbook had. These are the tickets to this place in Portugal. I like to keep this stuff as well sometimes. Yeah, but basically this was my first sketchbook, and thanks for joining me in this one. It's, as you can see, from November 2018 to January 2019, and I was trying to figure out what I liked. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for joining me, and if you'd like to see some more stuff like this, just please subscribe and like this video so I can see that you liked it, and join me on my next one. Yeah, thanks for being here, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.